Evening, everyone. Welcome for this open discussion. So, a lot of new people have joined us today. So, I'll just explain how these calls go. So, people, these are open discussions, and it's not one way interactive sessions where we only talk about the topic, but all of us participate and we all share our stories, experiences, meanings related to the topic. So, you all are welcome to participate. Now, how do you participate is either you can raise your hand and then we can call your name, or you can simply unmute yourself and start talking. You can also ask your questions whenever anybody is talking at that time if you have any, or you can post it in the chat box. So, welcome. Now, today's topic is the topic of self love. We have been talking about this in many of our calls, but this is the first time when we are going to talk about this as a solitary topic. And everybody has their own meanings and definitions when it comes to self love. So, we are going to explore it from different perspectives. We will also share our perspective meanwhile when we have the conversation. So, whosoever wants to go first, what do you feel this term means to you? How you have experienced and applied it in your life? Anybody can kickstart the conversation. Yes, Chaitra, go ahead.
Hello, yeah. I don't know, I feel self-love and being selfish and setting boundaries, these all three are interrelated. That's what I feel.
Okay. Self love and selfish and setting boundaries.
Yeah,
Okay.
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 Okay. Great. Let's explore it more. That
Okay.
what all these terms could mean for different people. So,
Okay.
anybody else would like to share their views about what Chetra said or about this topic?
Hi all, I'm Kumar here. I believe self-love is a state of appreciation for our own self that grows from that actions and that support our spiritual and psychological and mental health. So it's all about our own well-being. That's what I think self-love is.
Right, right, Kumar. So, great. So, your psychological, physiological, spiritual, all kinds of well-beings included in it. Great, great. Who else would like to share their views?
Hello.
Hello,
Uh,
hello,
hi.
Sahil.
Uh, Hi. Yes, I'm Sahil. Actually, for me, self-love is knowing your inner self first, like what goes
Uh-huh.
inside yourself, rather than looking in others. Like we find love in others, but we should find love in ourselves. And how do we find is try to find your inner self. Like what
Mm-hmm.
happens to you at what stages, at what uh, places maybe and what situations you go through, what you feel in those situations, that is more important. And knowing those things is really important towards self-love. Because without knowing your inner self, you can't find the ways to love yourself, I think.
Right, right. So, Sahil, what I'm getting from what you're saying is that first becoming aware of who you are, and then loving what you come to know. All parts of you, and whatever you see during the process.
Exactly.
Great, great. Yeah, Anusha, you want to go ahead?
Yes. So for me, self-love is basically a lot to do with self-acceptance. Once
Mhm.
you really are comfortable under your own skin of what you are truly, then only then you can actually love yourself. For a very long time, I was thinking that, I should be something, I have to be something, I have to become something, idealizing something which I'm not, and attaching myself to it brought in a lot of self-hatred. But the more I started understanding where I stand right now and accepting myself for that, it's when you actually start to love yourself. Like, it's not all about imagining a dream job or a dream salary or a dream achievement. So when you actually tag yourself to those, you will never love yourself for what you are. Rather than, like, there's a lot of times when we don't appreciate or love ourselves for the work which we do, and always seek to something else, and then hate ourselves for what we are not becoming. So I feel self-love is a lot to do with your uh, accepting yourself for what you are, and loving despite your flaws, despite your setbacks, and despite your not meeting your goals, and accepting yourself for what you are, and still loving yourself for whom you are. That's it.
Right. Right. Beautiful. Anybody else?
Yeah. I mean, adding to what somebody just said, self-love is definitely accepting yourself and basically living in this very moment of everything that we are. It means accepting our emotions or whatever we are, putting in our physical, emotional, and mental well-being, as I said earlier. So, yeah, accepting is one most important thing, and that's what I feel it is, accepting our own self.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely, Kumar. Seema, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I want to say, am I audible?
You are.
Yes.
Okay, so to me, self-love looks like taking care of myself, mentally, physically, maybe when I'm not like um so well mentally or physically, also health-wise, and consciously making an effort on the especially down days or the hard days, taking care of myself, and on purpose being really kind to myself, and um, make it easy to myself by making easier decisions. And foremost is that I need to respect that wherever I am, I am all right in the journey, and I need to take care of myself. Whether it's going to be a hard day, whether it's going to be a not so okay day, a good day. So, in all of this, I think taking care of myself consciously, respecting where I am in my journey, and accepting everything about me, whether it's my feelings, my emotions. So, for me, this is what self love looks like.
Right. Right. Great.
Uh, I have one question for everyone, maybe two questions for everyone, and just see how what the answer comes out. Mm, do you see any difference between self-care and self-love? That's one question. And second question, so whichever one you want to say, that's one. And second is when we say accepting ourselves, would that include you accepting the parts that you're not happy with without doing anything about it? Let's say any part of you makes you upset about it, like you feel that you get angry at something or you get frustrated at something. So then, would self-love still mean that you accept it without fixing it, or would it only mean that you have to fix it? Which way would it be?
Any of you can go ahead, just unmute yourself and start talking.
Anusha's hand is up. Anusha, do you still want to talk or you have to leave us from that? If Apurva, you want to talk?
No, I'm just uh, downing my hand.
Okay.
Okay. Apurva, you want to say something?
Apurva, if you're saying something, your voice is not audible to us.
Hello. Hi
Yes.
everyone.
Hello.
I just missed the question which Aparna have asked, but for me, self-love right now is I don't feel like to express myself to anyone now. So for me, this is actually the self-love. So I don't miss anything. So I don't feel like that I know need someone to love. So for me, that is self-love right now.
You're saying that you can just be alone without needing anyone. That is self-love for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Annapurna wants to say something. Annapurna's hand is up.
Yeah. I think self-love do include self-care in terms of how we are taking care of ourselves each and every day, fighting our inner demons, fighting our battles, trying to understand from where, these problems are coming out and how we are working on it. Um, Accepting that, yeah, it won't be an easy process, and but and it won't be a very up, like it won't be like a steep uh, curve where one goes step by step and reaches the ultimatum. It's a it's a it's a process where there are certain roadblocks, where there would be speed breakers, but if we are trying to work on ourselves and we want to be a better version, or we want to achieve something like happiness or something where we feel like we are something more than what we are right now, that also can be a sign of self love, is what I feel about self love is all about. Though we have limitations, as you were mentioning, we do work from our insecure attachment styles and other stuff also, which makes it very difficult for us to accept and to see things in a neutral way. So working on those things also means, like, we do care about ourselves and we want to improve ourselves. So all these healing journeys, all whatever part we are doing, it comes uh, it is somewhere, these are the steps which may be leading to self love. That is how I feel about it.
Right. Yeah, I agree to one point that you have said. So, but we'll talk about it, in the upcoming as this conversation goes further.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Chatra has her hand up. So yes, Chatra, go ahead. Thanks,
Yes, yes.
Annapurna. That was good
Yeah,
input.
yes. Uh, yeah. I certain body parts without doing anything about it. Like acceptance in that level, I haven't reached. But earlier, I used to abuse myself. I used to talk bad about myself. That I've stopped. I appreciate each and every part. But then just now I realized, just 5 minutes back, when Akama sir said, without doing anything, do you accept it? That I haven't reached that stage yet.
Right. Okay. Okay. Seema.
So I think when you say self-care can exist without self-love, to a point, yes. So say, supposing I'm following a regime of walking, so I am taking care of myself. But Self-love is basically on all levels, what I feel from my understanding, that it is physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So yeah, I can be taking care of myself when it comes to my physical health, but not necessarily that I'm loving myself. So to me, they both are a little different. But yes, if I start taking care of myself, can be so I may be sounding contradicting my statement myself. Is this that even I'm confused? So I would like to know from you. So according to me, self-care can happen without self-love. But I think in the process of loving myself, or making it as a consistent practice for myself, I think I can do that through the self-care. So please, I would like to know your views on the same.
So when Akarma asked the question about self-care and self-love, I believe self-care is part of self-love. However, there is a wherein I would say self-care means taking care of yourself physically and mentally. As adding to what Seema was mentioning about walking or taking care of your health and body and all. While self-love means showing, it's more towards emotional side, showing more kindness to yourself, or being more empathetic to your own self, you know. And that's what I think is the difference between self-care and self-love. Thank you.
Yeah, Neelu, you want to say something?
Yeah. Yeah. So your question is, what is the difference between self-love and self-care, right? Because I joined late. I have just
Yeah. Are they the same?
okay, no. So basically they are not same. According to me, self-care is just pampering yourself on the materialistic side, like pampering in a way like going for massages, parlor, or buying the stuff, shopping, retail therapy, and all that stuff. And these things just give you temporary like distraction if you are going through. Like someone is sad, they just go out and they just mindlessly indulge in the things and in the name of self-care. But self-love is a very vast concept, according to me. It is like accepting yourself completely with your flaws, with your positive and negatives, both. So, accepting completely is like emotionally your negative points, also your physical attribute, also like completely. So, like taking care of your being basically compassionate and kind towards yourself, discipline, like when you have promised, it is like self commitment to yourself also. Like if you want to do something, you complete that work. You're disciplined in your health routine, your exercise. It is like it includes self care also, like emotionally, physically, mentally, accepting yourself completely. That is what I think. Hello,
Yeah.
I was audible.
Yes, you were, Neelu. Thank you. Yeah, Sahil, you also want to say something?
Yes, actually, I want to say is that self-care is completely dependent or on self-love, or maybe vice versa. From my point of view, self-care is like taking your physical care, which is outside your body. Not outside your body. I mean, like the which you can take care from doing some exercises or taking some external factors, with the help of external factors like taking care of your physical body. Your mental health will be dependent on your physical health, right? So
Right.
I think, yeah, so I think first is taking care of yourself. That is self care of your physical body, the way you are. And like self love is like Kumar and many of them said that it's being kind to yourself. That is very important, I think. Rather be without being kind to yourself, I think most of the things are not possible. So both are interdependent on each other, I guess, for me. And
Mhm.
if we take care of physical being, we will be able to concentrate on what's inside us. And like
Mhm.
accepting yourself the way you are is the only thing we can do about it. We can't do anything with, like if we don't accept ourselves, we can't do anything. And if
Mhm.
what others think that matters to us most, then we can't accept the way we are. So I think accepting the way we are should depend on your thoughts, not on others, what they other things about us, other think about us. And what
Right.
was the second question?
So the second question was that um, can you observe something about yourself and without trying to change it, anything negative, and without trying to change it, you can accept it the way it is?
Yeah, I have learned one thing that I have to be conscious most of the time rather than being unconscious. Like I started thinking consciously that we have to be present in this moment because this moment is inevitable, I guess. So being looking the way the world is in conscious way, most of the problem will disappear, I guess, because most of the time we live in unconscious mind. What has happened yesterday, we take that is not present in today's time. Like, but we that past experiences just in our mind, not they are not in present. So most of us
Mm-hmm.
live in past. Those things are just in our mind.
Yeah.
We can't do
Yeah, but
anything about that.
yes, I mean, what you're trying to say is that the mind always dwells either in the past or the future.
Yeah.
So this moment, this present moment is all we have. Now, how do you
Yes.
connect this with the question that when in the present moment, let's suppose something arises in you and that thing which may be something negative, an emotion, a thought, and without trying to fix it, are you able to just be with it?
Yes. This is happening with me since past 1.5 months. uh, I have learned a lot. Then I could control. One thing is that, like I said, trying to be conscious. Like whether I have a negative thought or a positive thought. If I have a negative thought, I do come up with one reality check. Is that
Mhm.
thing, the negative thought, is going to help me in this present or in future? If it doesn't contribute in future, I shouldn't think about it. That is first reality check, and I think that situation in a conscious way. So
Okay,
that's the how I tackle my negative thoughts and whatever it is not in present.
okay, great, great.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing,
Yeah.
Sahil.
Yes.
Now, for all of you, I have a question that we this point is pretty much very clearly established that all of you already understand that self care is a part of self love, right? And it's important. The second question which Akarma asked is it's a very important question. So we will talk about that question in more depth now.
It's just one thing. Can I just add one thing?
Please,
Seema
please.
mentioned on this topic only. So yes, Seema, it is possible for someone to do self-care and not have self-love. In fact, it can be very common thing as well that people may come up with a health routine or a health ritual just because they are in some sort of pain and they want to get away from that pain. So not necessarily means it comes from a space of self-love, but means that it comes from a space of need or a fear or whatever it is that I'm overweight and that is why I'm joining gym or that is why I am going to take eating healthy food or I'm smoking too much and if I continue doing this I'll die and all that. So people could come up with self-care routine which can be completely unrelated to self-love. So the space matters. As Nanika said, that the first step towards self-love is self-care. But if that self-care is not coming from the space of self-love, then it is coming from the space of fear, guilt, shame, whatever it could be, that I have to do it. It's like that I am feeling pushed to do it. As if the situation is making me to do it. If I was not overweight, If I was not this, if I was not that, then I would probably not have gone for that walk. I would not have joined the gym. So it's coming from that space of that I have to do it, not that I want to do it. Does that make it clear? Yes, your hand is up.
Yeah, it's quite clear, and thank you for clarifying it. Yeah, I don't know if you remember, I just discussed it over with you, maybe in the clarity call or in one of the open mic discussions with you and Anamika, that I take care of myself, maybe say reducing on my weight, but I never complete the journey. So today, I think it's making sense to me. I've got the clarity because it's coming from the need. It's not coming from actually coming out of love for myself. It's just out of need. So for few days I meet that need and I feel satisfied, and then I never
Exactly,
reach to the
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly, that is the thing. And just before this call, me and Anamika we were discussing that it's New Year is coming up, and it is a worldwide fact. It's
Yeah,
not just applicable
resolutions.
in India; it's a worldwide fact about resolution that
Yeah.
maximum gym memberships happen in January.
Yeah, true.
So this is worldwide fact. This is
Yeah.
across. Like you Google it and you will see that maximum gym memberships happen in January,
Yeah.
and the core reason is because people are motivated by that fear that I
Yeah.
have to change something this year. So that fear is good motivator to get up and do something, but it is not sustainable. Fear
Yeah,
will
it's
not
definitely.
sustain you through it. Only love will be able to sustain you. Fear can help you get off the couch and take action.
Yeah.
But only fear is not going to get you through. That is why you start something and then it just fizzles out after a while. It's just too much motivation and too much pumping required from externally to keep
Mm.
doing that thing.
Yeah, definitely. In my case, I've figured it out today with this open mic conversations. Thank you.
Yeah, and there was this group of girls I was working with long back,
Mm.
and they were all these fitness freaks and everything. And
Okay.
what we realized over a period of time after talking to the whole group is
Mm.
that they had a lot of guilt and shame related to their body, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
that was the reason why they wanted to have a sexy body, right? So
Okay.
that they could
Okay.
wear the clothes and they could do everything. And over a period of time, people, even people who somehow, first of all, it fails because it's not sustainable, because it's literally coming from the space of self hatred, not self love, right?
Yeah.
And then even if somebody sustains it and like they have a lot of discipline and perseverance and they have gotten
Mm.
through it, but the thought that is going on in their heads all the time is, I hate this body, I hate this body, I hate this body. And just imagine, if you keep telling your body that I hate you,
Yeah.
it is over a period of time going to manifest all that hatred in the body itself.
Yeah.
So over a period of time, even if they had lost weight, they had now a thinner body, their bodies had more diseases than ever. They were lethargic, or they had no energy, or they had like literally they were like going through different things. So it's not actually coming from the space that I love myself, and that's why I need to do this. People can have any type of goals, and that's fine, right? That we many people like being very fit, but that
Yeah.
has to come from the space that I love myself, and that's why I'm doing it, right? Not because I will achieve that and then I will love myself,
Mm. 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 Right. Right.
right? Because
Right.
for the
Makes
whole period
sense.
of time you have filled yourself with, I don't like you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thank you for all these open mics, because lot of my queries get resolved just like that, only just by having conversations, because that perceptions of others and the thought process that we each one of us put in helps each other a lot. And then coming out of the you and a karma and other mentors, it's like now I understand why I'm not able to reach my goal, because yeah, exactly, I'm been manifesting only the hatred for myself, because I was body shamed, and maybe I had an emotional abuse around my body, so that has been there. And because of that fear, I tried to reduce my weight, but after a few months, when I'm like reduce some kilos and start getting compliments, I just stop. Like I told you, I don't know why I don't go beyond that. And today I'm understanding, because it's just coming out of fear. And self love is something, I guess, is consistently there, whether anybody loves you or not, whether you're whatever shape. So thank you so much. It means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story, Seema. Yeah, it will help many. Great. So I guess this is this is something which Seema brought up and we talked about, and this was related to the second question which Akarma asked, that would you be able to accept yourself, all parts of you, without even trying to fix it or change it, right? So that's that. Now we have spoken about self acceptance, accepting yourself. All of you, we have talked about self awareness, that becoming, self aware. So I want to focus on that topic a little bit more, on that point a little bit more. That we use the word self love, we use the word self care, self acceptance, self awareness. What is this whole self thing? What is the self? So anybody would like to chime in and share what is the self?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. So I would like to tell about this self.
Sure.
Okay. So the self that like I understand and I've read. So the self is Atma, the soul, which is already in the like quality of bliss and eternal from away from time and space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it has all the
Okay.
qualities, right? Like ever ending, eternal, away from this time and space. But because of our ignorance, we are not able to, like, it's like a cloud that does not let you see through.
Okay.
And slowly, by doing some practices, we increase that, like we rub that cloud a little bit based on what everybody is practicing. So yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
strengthen that, like we are able to like connect with our soul. Like that's the thing, what I believe.
Okay. Okay. So self is the soul. And how do you do self love then? How do you practice self love? We don't have to practice anything per se. It's already unconditionally loving. Right, Arav?
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, you remove the ignorance, otherwise, like the ignorance that's there, remove it, see it, feel it. You can practice, like a lot of things are there. Well, this is
Okay.
my idea. It can be subjective, right? Well, people may
Yes.
agree about soul or they may disagree. So it's like different.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for adding that, because it is a subjective journey and it is a subjective experience. So I'm glad to hear yours. Anybody else would like to say, what do you think the self is made up of?
So maybe if it has to be on the superficial level and not going to the other side of the self thing, like you gave a contemplation pointer to me last time. not
Mm.
touching that. But if we really want to see what the self is, and we are saying self-acceptance, self-care, self-love, and everything is self, then it's actually just accepting yourself in a physical, emotional way, like your feelings, your emotions, your body type, whatever ways you are. So in totality, like whatever you are. Say I am
Mm.
Seema. So what is Seema? Like whether it's my belief system, whether it's my emotional health, whether it's my physicality. So I think all of that makes me, right? So for me, me is self, right? So that is how I can describe the best.
Right. Right. So it is made up of the body Seema and the mind Seema, the
Yeah.
thought Seema, the memory Seema, and
Yeah.
the emotions, feelings, the energy,
Yeah.
everything. All of the different areas of us that that we bring together. Because for an example, if we see the body, so if you just separate my leg from my body and keep it there, it's actually of no use. It's just a leg.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just a part of my body. So the legs were brought together, my hands and my head and everything was given a different function. So different, the blood is given a different function, the bones, all of it. So if we just see the body, there are so many points. It's like trillions and trillions of cells now. And the beauty is that each of these subatomic particles are getting created and getting destroyed at the same point of time. So it's not even the same body, it's changing, right? And then comes the mind. You get around 60, 70,000 thoughts throughout the day, right? And that's scientifically proven statistic. So the thoughts, the mind, and the emotions, you get so many variety of emotions and so many emotions that you cannot even name and label all of those, right? Then comes and these all things keep changing. Now another thing which comes that um, the summation of all of these things make the self of at this point of time. So I can say I'm talking to all of you, and then the next moment I have moved, it has changed, right? Then then how do we say that this is the self?
So is it like you
Um,
saying that self is like ever evolving? Like,
no, wait. This is just going to go in a very esoteric way. Let me ask you one question, Seema.
yeah,
Taking your example ahead,
okay.
so where does Seema start and where does Seema finish?
सीमा की कोई सीमा नहीं है.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, this is the honest answer. मतलब मुझे नहीं लगता कि I have any boundary. I mean, if you ask me, I'm like ever evolving from one state of being to the
Wait, wait,
another.
wait, Seema. Wait, Seema. Wait, Seema.
Yeah,
See, fun is fine, but I'm asking a very serious question right now.
yeah. Okay.
Where do you start? Where do you finish? What is your starting and end point? You tell me that first.
So starting is basically, I think, if you are asking, and from my understanding, it's my emotional self. So my emotional self is my starting, and
Emotional, mind, physical, we all covered.
okay,
Like
okay,
we are going, so let's not keep going in the same conversation. So
okay.
emotional, mental, physical, we covered. Right. So that's what we said. Now, my simple question is, where do you start and where do you end? In the sense that, would you say that I start from my head and finish on my leg, or start from my legs and finish on my head? Like, where does Seema start and where does Seema finish?
So I think it's from my emotions, heart. I think, and then it goes to my mind. Karma, I failed to understand your question. I'm just trying to
Okay,
give the answer
let's
my.
remove. Okay, so finish that. So Um, let's say you pick a flower, a rose flower.
Okay.
Hmm? Where
Okay.
does the rose flower start and where does the rose flower end?
So it
What
starts.
is rose flower? What do you call a rose flower? What is it that you will say this is rose flower?
It's a seed, then it turns to blossom into a
No, no,
flower.
I'm talking about just a flower. You're talking about the life cycle. I'm saying you look at a flower and I'm asking where does this flower starts and where does this flower end?
So from the petals, and it goes to its branches and the stems and the leaves.
So that's all that is
While
rose.
Seema takes, time to think about it, can I actually try to attempt my
Please
views
save
on that?
me time.
Mm, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Anusha. Anusha, sorry. Anusha, you're on mute. Are you talking?
Yeah, Anusha, you are on mute. I mean, you can please go ahead. Meanwhile, I'll do the thinking part.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Tejas, you want to say something? Mm, hello, guys. You interrupted the flow and then no one.
Nobody is
Um,
audible to me.
like I think now you
Okay, you
can.
continue, Seema.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So, so you said the rose, the petals, the leaves, um,
mm,
all that, right? So,
yeah.
so let's say if I cut it from there
Mm,
and I give it to you, then
okay.
would it stay alive?
No, not at all.
Why not?
Because we have cutted it from its root, and
But root is not part of the root. No, you said root is not part of the root. So I asked you what is where does root starts and where it ends. So wherever you said I cut it there for you and gave it to you.
mm,
So it should survive.
it should survive. Yeah, it should survive, but if we cut it from the stem and if we pluck it like that, okay, yeah, so then it should survive. Yeah,
No, but you're saying it won't survive, right? Because it needs roots also.
yeah, it needs its root, and I
So
mean, if we
then that means roots are also part of the roots.
yeah, it is essential. Like if I want it to survive, because yeah, plucking it will let it survive for maybe 10-15 days at the most. Or
Okay.
maybe
So
if I
then
reseed it, or maybe if
if
I
I
replant it, then maybe I can get a big gain a plant of the rose
no, no,
plant.
no, you're giving me a fix. I am not asking for a fix. I'm not asking
Okay.
for a solution. I'm
Oh,
simply asking you where does the rose starts and where does it end? And what that means is if you
hmm,
tell me it starts from here and ends there, then
hmm.
even if I remove it from that part, it should
Yeah,
still be okay.
yeah, actually,
So
it,
from which part I can remove it that it will still be okay. It will still be a rose.
um, if it still has to be the rose, it has to be removed maybe from the stem, and the petals have to stay so that it looks like a rose.
Hmm. So if I remove it from the roots, everything, the whole plant, if I just remove the whole thing from roots
Okay.
and just give it to you and you hold that whole thing in your hand, will it
Yeah,
survive?
definitely it will survive. I will plant it in a.
So it doesn't need soil, it doesn't need water, it doesn't need sunlight.
It needs everything. All of this is required to make it we
So
like
this is my
survive.
question. So where does it start and where does it end? That is what I'm saying. So when I say it ends here, that means all the other things, if I remove it from all that, it will still survive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It will. It will. It should.
It should survive even if I don't plant it back in the soil, I don't give it water, I don't give it sunlight, it will still survive.
No.
No. So that means water, soil, sunlight, all are part of the rose.
Yeah, these all components are required to let it survive. It needs for its survival.
Yes, yes. What about air?
We definitely need it, and the plants and animals
So,
also.
exactly. So now translate it back to yourself. That what is it that you can eliminate from your environment and you will still be you. You
Uh,
don't need you don't need fresh air. Do you not need good food? Do you not need water? Do you not need people around you? So what is it that you will remove from your environment and you can still say you will be you?
I think negative and toxic thoughts, and so it makes it fine because it's
Negative
already
and
peaceful.
toxic thoughts also, we talked about that. Self-love means accepting all of it. Negative
Yeah,
and toxic thoughts are the reasons that help you to go and do something
yeah, they are.
and become and evolve. So they also have
Yeah,
a role to play.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Without negative thoughts, without let's say without disease, your
yeah,
immune system will not strengthen.
yeah,
So everything has
definitely.
a role to play.
Yes, definitely.
So when we say that everything has a role to play in my survival and in my growth, then exactly what is it that I will eliminate and I will still be me?
Okay, I want to think about it. Nothing is coming to me right now, I'm being honest.
Okay, that's fine. Chetra, you wanted to say something?
Hello. Yeah. Yeah, I just feel that the universe and we are all interconnected. That's what I feel. There's nothing like, separate being or form.
Mhm. So we are interconnected. That
Yeah,
means
that's what I feel.
if something in our environment is disturbed, then it will affect us also.
Yes.
If the air is polluted, then I will get affected by that. If the water is
Yes.
polluted, I will get affected by that, right?
True. That's
So
what I feel.
when I am practicing self-love, but I am not practicing this in a wider way. So I am only doing self-care and I call it self-love. But I don't really care about my environment. I don't care about the air I'm breathing. I'm not caring about the land I'm living on. I'm not caring about the people around me, relationships around me. Will that still be self-love then?
Yeah, true, true. That isn't self-love. Yeah, that's actually selfish, I think, not self-love.
So still I'll be honest, still I'm not exactly able to get into the into my system. So I would request you if you could give us a example. Um I don't know about others, but maybe I'm like not so well. So I'm like kind of stuck on this. It's not going beyond this into me.
Hmm. Hmm. Where are you stuck?
That to like if you are saying that I don't have to remove anything from my environment to evolve myself, so what exactly you are saying, um yeah, this is what I'm stuck on.
I am not saying you have to remove anything. I am saying what can you remove that you will still be you?
Okay. What I can
Is
remove.
there anything? Is there the question is not what you can remove. I think you are not hearing the question in the right way. So the
Okay.
question is that what can you remove? Not that what can you remove as in a list, but it's more like a checkpoint that is there anything that you can remove from around you and you will still be you? Is there any, so forget about you. Take an example of rose. So I'm saying that
Okay.
is there anything that you can remove that the rose will still be rose? Can we remove sun and still expect the rose to be rose? Can we can we remove land can and still expect the rose to be rose? Can we remove bees and birds and still expect the rose to be rose? Can we remove anything and still expect to have a rose?
Yeah, I got it now that I think you're saying that if I have to be even myself, I can be myself. I don't have to be like affected with the environment. I mean, I can be me. I don't have to remove anything in the sense that, right? Am I getting right?
Uh, no, no. You
Um,
are still stuck on that point.
yeah.
I'm trying to expand you, and you are trying to narrow it down.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I am trying to expand you and say that are you not? So you recognized yourself as being a body, mind, and emotions, and all that. And I'm
Yeah.
saying, is that it?
No, no,
So are
it's
you
beyond
just
that.
that? Are you just emotions and mind and body, or are you? So if we take you as you, like let's say you say I am my body, mind, emotions. So body, mind, emotions are all packaged inside your body only, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
So if I take you and plant you on moon, will you survive?
I will because that's me. I can survive anywhere. I
So you won't need oxygen, you won't need food to eat, you won't need water. You will survive on moon.
No, I will be needing food, water, and oxygen.
So if you will be needing, then aren't they part of you?
Yeah, they are part of me, right? So my
So
environment is
I'm
also part of me.
exactly. So when we talk about self-love, we are only focusing on our mental health, our emotions, or all that, but our focus is not on the environment, the wider environment. If we say
Yeah,
that we are interconnected,
yeah.
then if I am interconnected, then why I am ignoring that part? Because until that is healthy, I can't be healthy.
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. Got it. Yeah, yeah, definitely. The environment affects us a lot.
And the environment is not just the physical things in nature, the environment also includes people. So, right now, you may be feeling that you can't get along with people and all that. But if we take you and put you on moon and you are the only person on the moon, can you foresee yourself living there for next 40, 50 years?
Uh, if I've been forced, then maybe I have to learn to
No,
survive.
no, it's not
Um,
about force. Why? We are not talking about force. We are talking about self-love. We are talking about a choice. I'm
so
saying, will that
So if it's my choice that I have to stay along, then definitely I will be making a choice, and I'll be definitely having a survival things for me. Since I'm making a choice, I'll be maybe knowing it that how I will survive in such a conditions and all.
But you
Um,
see that how you quickly go onto a solution mode when I'm not even asking you solutions. So why are you finding
okay,
solution to a problem? I'm not even putting a problem in front of you.
okay, okay.
I'm only asking you a question. Can you or can you not? But what? Why are you finding solutions for it?
Because I operate like that, I've never learned another
So
way to
for
be. Yeah, so
so
I'm a
so I am
solution-oriented
pointing it out.
person.
So I
Yeah,
am
okay,
pointing you out that sometimes finding a solution without fully understanding a problem is not a very good thing.
okay.
You first have to understand what I'm asking. Because
Yeah,
your
yeah,
mind, you're so uncomfortable with this question that your mind wants to solve this problem straight away.
okay,
So
okay.
no, I'm not asking that. I'm asking that Um, have you seen these movies where there was this movie Mars, where someone gets stuck on Mars and the uh, the spaceship crashes and the person has got stuck on Mars, or even Interstellar. In Interstellar,
Okay.
also there is that scene where one person gets stuck on a planet
Yeah.
and is trying to get out. So imagine yourself in that situation. So we are not talking about if you get stuck, then obviously you'll do something to survive.
Yeah.
Right? Even in that case, to survive, you need the support of that planet and the resources over there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I need a support system for that.
So if the planet, so I am asking you that if you are floating in the universe, just floating in the air, so if you only identify yourself as body, mind, soul, emotions, that combination, then if I take you and just throw you in space and you are just drifting, there is not even a planet to land on, you're just drifting,
Hmm.
and no oxygen, no water, no food, nothing. We just give you your emotions, your mind, your soul, and your body, and we just throw you in outer space. Would you
Hmm.
survive?
No, not at all.
So then, doesn't that indicate that you need more than just body, mind, emotions, and soul to be you?
Yeah, definitely. I need an environment to survive.
You need an environment to survive. Environment also includes people.
Yeah,
Environment also
definitely.
includes birds, pets, animals, this, that. You need other living organisms around you.
Yeah, right people.
So, so
Yeah,
if
yeah,
so, if we are talking about self-love, and if all this is also me, then isn't it my duty to also make sure that that's also healthy, not just my own body and my own mind?
definitely, definitely. Yeah,
So I am trying to expand that perspective that you are not just you.
yeah,
There is
yeah.
more, and until the environment, until where you are living, everything is healthier. You
Mm,
can keep working on your mind, body, and physics and all that. But
mm,
until the air is fresh around you, it will affect you.
right,
You can have a
right.
very healthy regime and all that. But if you are living in Delhi and the air quality index is 900, it is going to affect you,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
So,
So, so we keep polluting everything outside of us and only keep our focus on us and expect to be healthy. That's not self love.
okay, okay.
So having a wider understanding and wider awareness that I don't just um, start and end at my body, my mind, my emotions, my all this. Wherever I'm saying my, it's not just that. It's more than that.
Yeah,
And what is that more? Is becoming aware of that. What is that more? What is more around me that makes me me? And then
right.
when I realize that, then I start taking care of that also, because taking care of that also is part of self love.
Okay. So, so I have a question here, Karma, and that is, supposing a person is practicing self-love, self-care, and they become pro, like according to them, right? And they feel that now nothing around them, maybe a negative situation or a toxic environment won't affect them. But when they go through that toxic environment again, but they feel that they thought that they're pro, but they're not, and again they are like gets little shattered and shaky. So in those circumstances, when we are saying that self love is not only about body, mind and soul, but it's about the environment, it's about the connections, it's about the healthy boundaries, many things, right? So my question here is that how do I stop something which is not in my control. Say XYZ people, I can't help meeting them, and I'm aware and conscious about it that I don't like can do something about it. Like
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example.
okay,
Because yes, they are not in your control, but there is still something in your control. And maybe with an example, it might become clear. So
okay,
let's say you buy vegetables from a vegetable vendor,
okay,
and that vegetable vendor gives you rotten vegetables and dirty vegetables and all loaded with pesticides and all that.
okay.
It's not under your control that what he is bringing.
Yeah, yeah.
So would you then keep buying it if it's
No, I'll
affecting your
change
health?
it.
What will you do?
I'll change the vendor. I'll stop buying from him. And
Okay, so then why can't you do that for other things? If you
certain
have that
people,
awareness, then why?
so say certain people belong to your family, you can't avoid them. Maybe you can have healthy boundaries with them. And
Correct.
with healthy boundaries, it's changed in a way that it stopped affecting you the way it used to affect you previously in the situations. It used to like you
Yeah,
used to go down 4 5 days, but now it has
yeah,
improved to like affecting just a 1 day or maybe few hours.
right.
But sometimes some people uh, don't say much, but their gestures are very unmanageable. I get stuck there sometimes. Like some people don't say it with words. It's not necessary. But there's some gestures makes you feel
So there are two things over here. One is that their gestures are making you uncomfortable. That is about you.
okay, okay,
That is something you have to fix. Second is their gesture, which you can't do anything about.
yeah, yeah,
So, so one part is their gestures are making you feel that way, and that is what you need to address for yourself.
right,
That what is it that is triggering me with these gestures? And many a times the answer could be very simple, and that is that if your mother is doing that, your father is doing that, you're just too connected with them, and you just expect that approval and acceptance from your parents or from your siblings that these things just hurt. So why they
yeah,
are still doing it? Why they talk like that? Why they do these things like that and all that? Hmm? So
yeah,
this is showing unhealthy attachment.
okay,
This is showing the fact that yes, as and I've said that many times in many calls before as well that as kids we expect acceptance and approval from our parents. No doubt about that. All kids expect that. Your
hmm,
kids expect that from you also. So all
yeah,
kids expect that. When you were young, you expected that. Nothing wrong with that. That is what kids are supposed to do. They are supposed to
yeah,
expect love and acceptance from their parents.
mm, yeah,
But now you're not a kid.
yeah, of
Now you are
course,
an adult. So now
yeah.
you have to see that many a times the adults in our life are probably not as mature as we believe them to be,
Yeah, right, right.
right? So as
Yeah,
kids, you can't see these things. As kids, you see your parents as heroes and role models, and like they are the supreme beings who will protect you and do this and that for you. You see them as grander than they are.
yeah. Our idols,
But when
basically.
you become but when you become adult, you need to start seeing them as human beings as well, who bleed, who also have fears, who also have wounds, who also
Yeah,
have insecurities, and they
yeah,
operate from that.
yeah.
So now as adult, what stops you from seeing your parents or your elders as people and
Mm.
not still see them from the eyes of a kid?
Yeah, getting it. Yes, definitely.
And
Yeah, maybe
and
I
one
have
more.
grown and understand now, but maybe they are because they have not evolved like me, or maybe they have not got any anamika and akarma to understand what is like unhealthy and all things. So, jokes apart, it's like, yeah, true. Actually, I think the
They
moment we
will
become
continue to
mature,
operate the
I
way they
have
have
one
always.
question. I
yeah,
I
yeah,
have one
Go ahead.
question because this conversation is becoming more about them. So now coming back to the self,
yeah,
so,
yeah,
and making this about you, that at
yeah,
that point of time when at any point of time where all of these situations arise, where negative,
mm, mm,
traumatic or uncomfortable,
mm,
a good question to ask yourselves is, what would a self-loving person do in this situation? Right. So now, as we have discussed, like about the self, like so many things, it's multidimensional. It is so many things, and
mm,
it keeps changing. It keeps evolving. It's created of many elements, and we also came to the point where we know that we have to love all of these parts of us.
yeah, yeah,
Right. Now, when you are becoming uncomfortable in this situation, so
mm,
you're telling yourself somewhere that you're not supposed to feel like that, right? And it shouldn't be this way or it shouldn't be that way. And
yeah,
I agree that whatever is going on outside, but there is that part of you which is hurt at that point of time. And
yeah,
she needs to be heard. She needs to be seen. She needs to be loved, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
the second part of this word self love is love. So it basically means that whichever stage of our journeys we are in, doesn't
mm,
matter. Whatever the definition of self we can create for ourselves, we can
yeah,
become aware one step at a time. And the
yeah,
second part, love. How do we love? So are we able to provide that unconditional love to each part of us? And the word itself, unconditional, means that you have no judgment, right? You accept it the way it is at this point of time, and you're not trying to fix it, you're not trying to fix anything in her. You're just sitting with her, and you're maybe just talking to her, or maybe even not talking to her. You're just with her, you just acknowledged her, because that
mm,
part of you wants to be seen and heard and loved. But as it comes to your family or people around you, they don't have the capacity to provide that.
yeah,
You are not the same child, you are an adult. You have the
mm,
capacity now to provide that to yourself,
yeah, yeah,
right? So that is another step ahead when we go in this work of self love, because self, the definition is like literally expanding, like there's no end to it, right? But in very simple terms, whichever stage we are in doesn't matter. The whole point is accepting the self the way it is and loving it unconditionally.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But Anamika, like,
Hmm.
I feel that because of our conditioning, I feel, or maybe I don't know if it's coming from the belief system or conditioning, but knowingly, unknowingly, I guess, we are so deeply conditioned to judge people, maybe ourselves also, and we have so much of faulty expectations. Like for XY number of years, I know that that's not been fulfilled by them. So by now, I should be knowing that yeah, I have to not get hurt. I have to have my healthy boundaries. Where it starts affecting me, I need to put my healthy boundaries. But when it comes to actually practicing or implementing, it's, believe me, it's very tough, because it's easy said and done. Changing that hardcore conditioning that we all are coming from, leaving those expectations and loving anybody and accepting them as they are and as we are, is something like, actually will be an unconditional state of being. But to be there, I think I'm still learning to accept that. So this is what came to my mind while we are having a interaction. So it's
Yeah.
difficult. I mean, to leave the judgments, to leave the expectations. I more of the expectations rather than just judgments. We have a lot of expectations from others to behave in a particular way, which I think from some kind of a control. So I really would like you guys to do something about the controls and ego, because I want to understand what it is like.
how they are, like how do they operate in one's life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll have a discussion on that, right? But now the thing is that um, even this topic is very much linked to the ego self only, right? Because that is the one that has created the beliefs and the conditionings. Because when you were born and you were 2 years old, you didn't have those, right? You didn't have an identity itself, so you had to create something to survive in the world, to present yourself and to understand how to operate in this world. And when we grow up, they are good beliefs, there are bad beliefs, they all come in a bunch. Now the thing is that we hold on to those beliefs so tight that later in our lives it starts impacting our lives in many different ways, all of our different areas. So ego
Right.
is not just this thing that it's arrogance and it's attitude and all that. Ego is this thing, whatever we are holding on to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Saying that this
Yeah.
is right and this is wrong and this is this and this is that.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so do the like validations also be a part of, like when we look forward for validations from others? So are they also a part of ego game? I mean, control is there, then judgments. So are the validations also a part of ego, or like validations come under what? So when I want the validations from outside me, what that is the part of, like what will be it be a part of?
That is also a part of the ego only.
Okay, okay,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Because there is a me which we have created. So when we spoke about self-love, right?
yeah,
So it expands to all areas.
mm,
Like you are made up of like literally 5 elements, 6 elements, let's say, right?
mm,
And if I break you down, Seema doesn't exist,
mm,
right? And even if I take, okay, say that, okay, let's say there's the soul, and then the body and the mind, and I dissect everything, then
yeah,
where is Seema, right? And the whole point is that where did Seema come from and where is Seema going,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
getting it. Yeah. So
Yes.
it's all ego defined, yeah, right, Anna?
Yes. So every time we identify with something that this is me,
Yeah,
right? I'm this body, I'm this mind, I'm this thought, I'm this belief, I'm this condition, this is my family.
yeah,
All of it is ego, right? And there's
right.
nothing wrong with it because it
Yeah,
is needed. हमें रहना तो इसी दुनिया में है ना, right?
yeah,
So
of course.
at a certain point of up to a certain level, a healthy ego is required.
Yeah, it's just like having some good beliefs and then leaving on to the ones that doesn't solve the purpose. It's like that.
Huh.
Having certain good beliefs are also required. Like not all beliefs are wrong, which works fine for you. They are fine. I mean, they need not to be changed.
Right. So it's true that here in this reality, you need to eat food, right? You
Yeah,
need to earn
yeah,
money. You need to have a place or whatever simple basic needs. It's
yeah,
just that we are created like that. So
right.
whatever is a necessity, it's great, fine, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But every time that we define ourselves that this is me and this is
mm,
how I'm supposed to be, and Seema is going to be like this and this and this, that is all ego,
mm,
right? And the one um, that is asking for validation is also ego, although it doesn't seem like ego in a normal language,
yeah,
because it is still ego because she's also trying to hold on to something that could help her define the identity.
right, 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 right.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, so uh, Just a question came and it had gone. I'll just recall it. And if somebody else wants to ask, I'll ask you. Just give me a few seconds.
Sure, sure.
So I have a question here regarding the including entire environment, people, and stuff around us as a self. In that case, like let's say if we include only ourselves, our thoughts, then we have a lot of control over. Even if we say we discover that we are a pathetic self, then we still have a way forward to make it better. We can work on it, but how do we see that when negative connotations or energy coming from other people or other stuff, like maybe breaking the boundaries or minor forms of abuse, emotional or things like that?
You're asking how do we handle that?
Yeah. How should be a response of a person who is fully understanding the self-love?
Great, great. Good question, Tejas. So like I said, the question that a good question for us to ask ourselves in a tough situation is that how would a self-loving person behave in this situation, right? So this is very subjective. Now, if we set our boundaries too hard and we create a wall around us, that means that we are not allowing things and people to come in our lives because now we are afraid to face it, right? But setting a boundary means setting just a boundary that I'm allowing things to come, but then whatever things which do not match my values, do not match my non-negotiables, do not match my principles, I prefer to keep them outside of my boundaries, right? And I would be really happy telling people that I would be really happy if you respect that, right? So first of all, the first step is the step of defining who you are and who you are in the relationship. What is this relationship about? What its meaning to you, and who are the people involved in the relationship? Coming together, becoming really self-aware that what are what are the certain things that you're ready to bring on the table, and what are the certain things that you avoid, that you are not going to take. Like for an example, let's suppose I do not like somebody touching me without my permission. So I can just tell them that I do not appreciate this, right? And whenever you see something like this happening, you set a very clear boundary, assertive boundary, that I would really appreciate if you could do things differently. If they do it, then great. But if they are not respecting your boundaries, then you need to really see, evaluate the relationship again, that why is this person not able to respect your boundaries, right? So not setting the boundary too hard that it becomes creates distance in the relationship, but only at a level where it's healthy, right? And people who consistently break your boundary, it would be a good decision to just tell them that I wouldn't appreciate this, and take yourself away from the situation.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Tejas. Great.
So I could recall the question. So what is the difference between self-respect and ego then? I mean, how do we know that it is coming from self? Am I talking for my self-respect, or is it coming from my ego that I'm right now defining for myself? So like, I would really appreciate if you could explain me, and if we are not running out of time, with some example, a small example maybe, how do I define it that this is I'm standing for my self-respect and it is not coming from my ego?
Right. So you'll have to watch for the space. When it is coming from the space of self-respect, it is coming from the space of loving yourself, right? When it is coming from the space of ego, it is usually coming from the space to prove that I am right, or this is how it should be, or this is how it should not be, or this is how I think it's right. So that is, we were talking about healthy ego and unhealthy ego. So healthy ego is it's healthy because, as we talked about, relationships are a two-way street. So there has to be a healthy give and take that has to go on for it to be sustainable, for a long time. So you have to you love other people, but that doesn't mean that you'll start killing yourself. You love them, you love yourself as well. Right. And that self-respect is coming from the space where you are, where it's not about just you, right? That I have to prove that I'm right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for answering.
Anybody else has any question? Anybody wants to summarize what they got from this conversation? Anything to share, people? And then we'll wrap up. Akarma, anything you want to share as your ending words?
No.
Great people. So wonderful participation and conversation. So just summarizing it in one part, that self is a lot of things. So become self-aware that who are you. And when it comes to accepting yourself, it means that you're not trying to fix yourself, but you are accepting yourself the way it is. And then also doing it with an awareness of loving yourself unconditionally, that then how you would like to be, because we are changing, we are evolving every single moment. But when we accept ourselves unconditionally, and we, without trying to fix ourselves, change ourselves, we come to a space where we choose things which we really want to do because we love ourselves, not because we have to do it, because otherwise I'm going to be this or that. So that was a little bit about this conversation that we had. And we'll catch up with you guys next Sunday. Thanks to each one of you for joining. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much for answering all the questions. And thank you for clarifying,
Thank you.
Akarma, Namika. Thank you for everybody else
Thank
who
you.
share
Thank
their
you, guys.
perspectives. Bye. Good night,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you, Seema.
Good
Thank you,
night. Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Good night,
Have a great
everyone.
evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.